I do like this plane. The Marchetti, particularly in Irish aviation, the Air Corps operated these for a number of years. I think they had 8 of them at one stage, and they were only replaced then by the. Eventually, they were replaced by the PC9s. Um, so I've yet to get a livery for this in the old Air Corps colours, um, but we'll get there soon enough. The plane itself comes with the Reality expansion pack um, from Simcoders, and just the plane itself, the modelling, the texture work, the physics, the sounds. It's this is really impressive. Like the detail that's in this plane is just fantastic. We'll go through some of the features over here now in a minute, but like you can see even from the the tires and the landing gear, and it's just really well put together. So our flight today, we're just going to pick a VFR flight from Cork, and we're going to head over to Sligo, over to Sligo Airport. We're using real world weather. The weather in Ireland yesterday was quite bad. You had Storm Deirdre cutting across, so you had winds of anywhere from 30 to 40 knots, and then it was gusting as well. So it was bananas. So we'll hop into the. So we go through some of the features here. So we have our maintenance report. Now I haven't flown this plane much, um, but basically everything with REP goes through everything about the plane. So everything from your compression, battery levels, how the oil is doing, all that's in it. So everything's looking good here so far. On their new update, they added in you can use different GPSs. So if we hop into the cockpit, so that's the standard 430. That's X-Plane kind of standard. We can go with the GTN 650. Now I don't have it. I have the 750, but it works fine in there. Or you can go with no GPS, which is interesting because it's strictly VOR, but you know you have your common nav, so it's easy enough to get through it. We'll stick with the 430 just for the sheer crack of it. The pilot's position, again, you can move it. So we're currently in the left seat, but most of these Marchettis are actually right hand side. So you can see kind of how seamless the integration is. It's only a matter of swapping them forward. And a cool feature is outside of the plane, the pilot moves as well. And there's no hit on FPS or anything else. Now, I'm used to flying this on the left hand or the left hand side, so we'll stick with the left hand side. Everything about our avionics and our instruments are working. They have this tap function that A2A introduced as well. So as the aircraft is aging, some of these indicators to be rattling and shaking and vibrating, in which you can click them and you're tapping them essentially to get a correct reading. So all our systems seem okay. That's fine. The weight and balance, we need to put some fuel into the aircraft, so we'll just do this up here. Edit weight and balance, and we'll just do overall fuel. Maybe 4 hours of flying is fine. So what we can do, we can turn on the battery, kill the avionics for a sec. So you're getting your fuel indicators all in here. So we get our beacon light on, nice and loud. Turn down the L sound here so I'm not deafened. Okay, so we're going to set our mixture to rich. Prop can go full. A small crank on our throttle. We're selected on the right tank, which is fine. Boost pump, we can give it a small bit of wrong bit of fuel. Okay, we got to start up now. Parking brake is on, clear prop. Good start on the engine. Closes in here. We're going to lean our mixture. Keep our RPM at about 1,000. That looks good. Alternator can come on. Eventually the avionics can come on. That all looks tickety-boo. The altimeter here is 1000 hectopascals, so we'll move this back. We'll jump across this one. Now our weather briefing here is wind 2408 knots, temperature 8 degrees, dew point 5 degrees, visibility is 30 kilometers, sky conditions, few clouds at 1000 and then scattered at 1800, and the altimeter then is 1000 or 29053. So with this plane, because it's using the reality expansion, a couple of things you need to be careful with. You can't just turn on the engines and get going. You've got to let your temperatures build up, because you'll get warnings anyway. Now you can turn the warnings on and off. But what we're going to do, we're going to hop down into our GPS and we're just going to put in a direct 2 mode. We don't activate that, so we want to go to Sligo. So Echo, India, Sierra, Golf. Hit enter and activate. Set course to 002. 002. That looks good. Turn on our map. Zoom out a little bit. So from Cork, keeping to the right is Shannon, and straight up from there. So if my voice is a little bit hoarse, I had the our work Christmas party on Friday night. Yeah, still recovering from that, and trying to do renditions of Christmas songs in the wee hours of the morning time. So that's how we sound, all interesting. Turn on our panel lights here. We're probably going for an initial height of 4,000 feet. Turn on our flight director. We're going to fly VFR, code will be 7,000. Turn on to altitude mode. Don't think we're using ATC. Leave that off. Alright, so have a look at outside the plane. As you can see, everything looking really nice. Got all our lights on here now. What we'll do our control test. So left aileron, right aileron, full forward, full back, rudder left and rudder right. Okay, we're looking good. Flaps are coming down to about 15 degrees. That'll do. And from here, we'll be taxiing left turn. Don't need all this runway, so I'll turn to the left and then right, straight out. That's what we're going to do. This scenery, it's available from the org in X-Plane. It's free, and it's fantastic. Fantastic scenery at Cork. Like, they've even included the industrial estates here and the terminal. Really, really nice work. You know, even the layout of the trees. Great bit of work, and it's free, like, which is just fantastic. So with that said, let's get the show on the road, and we're going to be heading on to Sligo. So brakes can come off, add a bit of power, just touch the brakes, make sure they're working, which they are. We're down at the flight school here at Cork Airport. The Marchetti, it's very nimble, so it's you know, it's quick to respond. You have to be very gentle on the stick. You'll see that when we take off. Also, the fuel changeover, it's not automatic, so you got to keep an eye on it. So the best way to do it is time it. So you have your chrono down here, or if you have your own clocks or whatever, you can do it. Tightening our harness straps here as well.
Approaching 3-4. Approaching 3-4.
Okay, everything looking good so far. Temperatures and pressures all in the green. cargo fuel pump on just for takeoff. Make sure our pitot heats are on, landing lights are on. Turn our strobes on here as well.
Runway 34.
Mixture set to full rich. Flaps are set. Get ourselves lined up here in the centre line, and we can start advancing the throttle. Applying a bit of right rudder down the runway. The more torque you apply, the more left it's trying to go in yet. Rotate speed here of about 85 knots. Okay, we can rotate back now. We have liftoff. A small bit of wind to play with, nothing major. Positive rate gear coming up. Nice climb. Leaving the airport, Cork City out to our right hand side, and further out then you have Haulbowline, down with the naval base, then down into Cove, further down. Bring our flaps back in. We can adjust our pitch here now shortly. Power's okay. We're not at full tilt, but we don't need to. It's only ourselves in the plane. There's the weather loading in. But so far so good. Decent. It's decent visibility there today, so we're all right. So we just get our pitch right. We're going to engage the autopilot. We're going to go into nav mode. We're going to arm our altimeter, go into vertical speed. We'll keep our climb at 800 feet per minute. GPS mode is set on our Garmin nav here. .120 knots for our climb. All is fine. Double check our temperatures over here. We're currently set on our left wing, which is here. Let it run down to halfway in between half and 3/4. Boost pump can come off for the moment. We'll have to turn it back on when we're changing our tanks. We can probably lower the audio here with our headphones in. So yeah, this plane, it's you know, apart from being a military trainer, I find it's a cool GA plane just to tip around in. It's fast, it's responsive, the range is fairly decent as well. So as I'm saying, it's a lot more nimble than your Cessnas or your Pipers, but it's still a nice plane just to kind of go sightseeing in. You know, everything in here works. All the fuses work, the lights, everything about the temperatures, and there's nice little designs like the fingerprints and stuff on the glass. It just makes it feel that little bit more immersed in it. So far everything okay. RPM is a little bit high. We're going to drop that back ever so slightly. About 26 will do. We can pitch down shortly, but there's really no need for it. We can add a bit of power here if needs be. Manifold pressure even up to 25, and that should see us increasing our speed, which it is. So we're fairly bang on with our temperatures and settings. We're at 3,000 feet now, 1,000 to go. Bit of cloud cover, but nothing to get worried about. I'll zoom out here, see how we're going. We're looking good so far. Altitude is armed at 4,000 feet. We might have a look at our weather here just to see. So we've scattered now, coming in at 20,000 feet. We should still be okay though. We'll have kind of one layer beneath us. And this is the advantage of FS Global Real Weather. For example, I'll bring it in here on the screen so you guys can see it. Can you guys see it? Okay, we'll figure out how to do that the next time. But basically what it is, you can type in whatever airport you want to go to. There's our autopilot taking over here now with our climb. We'll level off at 4,000. That's looking good. Lewis Master, thanks for the follow. So speed wise, we're just going to let this climb. We'll probably get up to about maybe 160, 165 knots. We can bring our power back. We can lean out our fuel a little bit. So everything looking fairly decent so far. We'll go outside just to give you an idea. So as you can kind of see and hear, the plane looks great, and the sound is savage as well. And our scenery is doing a good job. This is all ortho for XP. Again, it's all free, like, so it's using Google Images from their Google Earth, I suppose. And you can select different maps. There's plenty of videos there how to figure out ortho. But anyone who wants a dig out, by all means, we can do a stream of that soon as well. So everything so far looking decent. We'll bring up our map here. So we're going okay. It'll probably take, I think it's about an hour at this speed. We'll get up to Sligo. But it's nice, like you've nice countryside here all along the way. So we'll go down and check the status of our fuel tanks. So we have a set on the left wing, and as you can see, it's roughly now in between the two. So we're going to select the right wing, or the right wing rather. So we're going to put on our booster pump, and we're just going to flick this switch over to the right, and that's it. Just getting a warning. It's trying to load in some scenery. There's a new scenery there from Kino on Knock Echo India Kilo November. Really, really good. I don't exactly know what I'm missing. It's loading fine. I've double checked all the textures. They appear to be fine, so it seems to be alright. So I'll watch our timings on this now as well. We'll leave the wing tanks alone after this. Once we get the right wing down, we'll see after about 12 minutes or so fuel burn, and then we'll go out to our tip tanks. So we can turn off our booster now. Flick on the emergency avionics master just in case there's a fail here or with any of the fuses. This guy will keep the avionics on. So apart from that, temperature and pressure is all in the green. Everything's fine. Speed is bang on 160, so we can lean out ever so slightly, and we want to watch our exhaust gas temperature rising with this, which is here. So as we're leaning the mixture, keep an eye on the speed, keep an eye on the RPM, and then watch your EGT. About halfway is enough for this flight. A little bit more. There we go. So usually you would bring your EGT out to where it peaks and then just back a notch. Now depending on the aircraft, it depends. Cylinder heads all okay. Carpeed we can probably bring in a smidgen. Suction okay. Everything seems fine. So we're in the soup a little bit. Nothing to worry about. You can see the brake kind of here ahead of you. And back into our map then. So we're coming back over, so that's out of Cork, we say Mitchelstown. We'll be coming in between, we say Limerick and Tipperary. Straight up. We'll be flying very close to Knock. And then we're further on up then to about here. Is it Sligo? So I hope you guys are all set for Christmas. I went through the org store and X Aviation website as well, just to see like what to pick up. I was saying in the last stream, I'm looking. Well, I get the Orbex stuff. I don't know. Will they do one for Ireland? They did an FSX and it was really good. But like, we didn't. Certainly, like I was using FSX. I didn't have the option of using Ortho 4XP. So, I mean, to me, this is fantastic. I mean, this is pretty much what it's like. I mean, the only time it'll be different. Okay, yeah, the roads stick out like a sore thumb. There are other textures you can get for that, and there's other things you can actually disappear the roads, and they're using the OSM data, so you'll have the cars actually driving on the roads. But it depends on some of the ortho imagery you have. Like there's only a few parts of Ireland that have there's cloud cover in the photo, so it looks crap. But in saying that, the most part is actually quite good. The only place I seem to have struggled so far is Scotland, whereby I'm missing a lot of scenery only because it's all white. It's just pure clouds. So it depends. Like that was a mix between using the Bing imagery and Google as well. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, definitely as a GA plane, this thing is a lot of fun. Like we'll do a bit of aerobatics once we get up around Sligo, just to make it look all nice. I can't remember whose video it was on YouTube, or it could have been I think it was it was a program I think that was on BBC or one of these, and it was all about general aviation in England, in the United Kingdom. But one guy had a Piper Warrior, another guy had a Cessna, and one of them had a Marchetti. So there's another video I think where actually one of the Aircore ones, when they sold them, it ended up in, I think it was New York, and it's still in the Irish colours, which is cool to see. Like it's flying over, well, it was flying over the skies over Long Island. I don't know if it's still there, but it's cool to think that's with planes. Like I mean, some of these are donkeys years old. Like the Pipers are 50s and 60s, and the Cessnas, and they're fine. Like they're not a bother. They still fly. The airframe is fine. So even the likes of the Marchettis, which I think came to the Air Corps sometime in the 70s, all the way up to the early 2000s before they were moved on, they still have life after that, which is kind of cool. And you can imagine the level of maintenance that they would have got from the Air Corps would have been of a very high standard, considering the most of the technicians they have in there. And from a private, not to say all private companies, but certainly with a private company, the onus more is to stay profitable. Therefore, they might have to skimp on some of the inspections, be it the 1,000 hour or the 500 hour. With the Aircore, you just wouldn't have had that, because it was either done or it wasn't. It was kind of simple as that. So whoever bought them planes got a bargain. So as I said, it's using real world weather. I must check the weather in Sligo here. Diddly-do. So the weather in Sligo, wind 170 4 knots, and then 130 at 230 knots. That doesn't seem right. 170 at 4 knots, and it's 130 to 250 degrees. That doesn't seem right. But anyway, it's a southerly wind 4 knots. That's kind of where we're at. Temperature 7 degrees, 2.5. That's fine. Visibility 13 kilometers. Sky conditions scattered at 1,400, broken at 30,000, and the pressure is 2947 or 998. So a little bit worse than what Cork was, but 13 kilometers is still fine. You can see it with our cloud cover here. We're, as I said, in between layers. We could go down 1,500 feet, but just for our speed and temperatures, we'll keep doing what we're doing. And we'll have a look here at our fuel again. So we're pretty much bang on our money on our fuel. So we're going to go to one of our tanks now. So again, booster can come on. We're going to go to the right fuel tank. So we can bring this guy all the way back to somewhere between quarter and half, and then we'll drop it over to the left fuel tip, or tip tanks, can't even talk, and we'll do the same, and that should fairly get us on our way. Our overall distance now, we're not far from Shannon. The main approach is in and out of Shannon, so we're pretty much straight. We're just slightly off north with our heading. Speed is good, altitude is fine, temperatures seem fine, pressures seem fine. Everything doing what I should be doing. It's cool looking, there's a lot of detail in this plane. Jump outside again. So if you're on the fence about getting this plane, guys, as I said, it is coming up to Christmas. I have it. I'm really happy that I got it. And it's there's a lot of updates coming in with this. I saw in the last video as well. They're looking at the G1000 instrument system. I have to say I like the steam gauges, but they have their uses. Do the G1000s. A cool torch here as well. At night time, the instruments look pretty sweet as well. Which I like. I mean, it's priced well. It's a lot of plane for what you're getting. And it comes with the reality expansion pack. all in the one package. So to me, I think it's great value, and it's a great plane to fly around in. It has its quirks, of course it has, but it's allowed. There's nothing major. There's nothing breakable in it, or sorry, there's nothing broken in it. One or two very small things, but it's. I mean, the level of detail in this thing, like look at even the ripples on the chairs and the creases with the leather and even the seat belts. Absolutely fantastic. Nice scenery below us as well. 5 points if you can guess the river. Oh, Shannon off our wing here now. That'll be Limerick City in that direction. Therefore, Shannon. Shannon's to our left. So we're doing well. I'm also interested to see what kind of hardware you guys are using. My own setup, I have the Trustmaster Hotas Warthog, the stick, and the throttle, and that's fairly recent. Prior to that, I had the Cytec Cessna yoke. Before that, I had just the Cytec ProFlight yoke. I have the Cytec pedals, and I use the Cytec switch panel, which is your landing gear and all your lights. I'm eager to see how the new honeycomb system comes out. Aerosoft are selling that here in Europe. Not too sure who the main resellers are stateside, but it'd be interesting to see, if the main guys that get their hands on it first, we say maybe Q8 or Frugal or Thomas Rasmussen, any of the main guys who managed to get their hands on this first. It'll be interesting to see how they stack them up price wise. I think the yoke is coming in at about 200 and the throttle comes in at about, I think it's the same 200. So you're talking, including your delivery charges wherever you are, under 500 quid is going to get you a full setup, €500. Um, it'll be interesting to see because the Trustmaster is about the same, and for me, the transition from the Cytec yoke up to the Trustmaster, you'd be skeptical. You'd be saying, it can't be that good. It's not going to make that much of a change to how I fly. And I always felt I had better control with the yokes. Um, but with the joystick, a small learning curve, but I'll never go back. It's just fantastic, that Trustmaster. It's the weight and feel of it, the how responsive it is. It's so accurate, and it it's a little bit easier flying planes. I find now, like the yokes are still important, like especially if you're doing real world stuff, because it's all about your hands positioning and stuff, whatever in the cockpit, and it's just it gets you into good routines. Like, but I'm well impressed with the Trustmaster. I'm looking at their new pedals as well. I just think the handling, the ground handling in X-Plane, like it's. I've flown stuff in real life, and people will argue that the handling is close, but it's because you don't have that feeling. There's no resistance. You can't feel, your chair isn't literally getting dragged from one side to the other. So by the time you're reacting, you're only reacting to a visual representation of what forces the aircraft are under. So it makes the ground handling a little bit difficult. Now they have the settings there that you can tune it down or tune it up depending on what you want to do. But I think with a better set of pedals, um, it should make it easier to control. That's my guess. A couple of videos I've watched on YouTube would definitely tend to suggest that. Um, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Like if I went out and I got the virtual fly stuff, the Yoko or Rudo, like I'd be divorced. Like that'll be the end of it. She'd go nuts. But we'll see. Like I want to test it out first. Like I found, unfortunately, in Ireland, there's not a lack of virtual pilots or people in the community. There's lots of us here from Ireland, which is great. But in terms of expos or whatever, the closest one is Cosford in the UK, um, and it's Murphy's Law. Whenever it's on, I've other stuff on. Like I can't get to it. It's either work commitments or family or whatever. So I've yet to go. So I can't actually get my hands on a set of the virtual fly stuff or the Trustmaster stuff. So most of your homework is going to be done watching videos and what other people are saying about it, which is, I think that's what we all do. But it would be sweet to get my hands on a set of them just to see what they're like. Um, or even, if anyone's watching this and your locale is here in Ireland, and you haven't even had a look at the Trustmaster stuff, by all means, drop me a message. And if you're in the area, I'd be more than willing to let you have a shot of it and see what you think. There were um, there were a couple of websites around over the years of Irish virtual flying and all this. So it'd be nice to get back to that. Spanish Point, Galway, Connemara, Abbeyshrew, Burr out to the right of us. Knock is ahead, and then there's a little bit past Knock. Then we have Sligo. It's amazing the number of airports, airfields, or aerodromes in Ireland. Like you wouldn't think it. The island is quite small. Like it's not a big to do. Dublin to Limerick, you do it in 2 hours in a car. Um, whereby if parts of England a little bit more spread out, and then the states, well, you need to be able to fly in the states, because it's the distances are huge. But for new pilots, student pilots, it's the weather is our biggest problem because for a discovery flight, it's nice to go up with a bit of cloud. Like don't get me wrong, because like it's not to say flying in clear blue skies is boring, but like it's you know cloud dashing is great fun. But it's more to do with the winds, as in it'll take you up and it's anything up to maybe 10 knots, but not more than that. And turbulence, like it might be a fun experience. There are a number of flight schools around the country now. Granted, they mightn't be as busy this time of the year, but certainly coming into summer next year, they're going to be at the door busy again. So again, just speaking about the weather, as you can see, the layering that you get, like that's not X-Plane default, and I might pick up Active Sky just to see the comparison. But what I'm using is the FS Global Real Weather, so that's the engine that's injecting all of that in, and the textures I'm running is the Ultra Weather XP, which is this. So you can mess around with your sky colors, the mist, terrain distance, the moon glow at night, the auto mist, different cloud textures. I just use number one. I haven't really messed around with the other ones. I will eventually. These are my settings that get me the best combination on my system for FPS and everything else. Um, but yeah, it's I think it's great. So it'd be interesting to see. I know with SkyMax Pro have now launched with FS Global Real Weather, so that'll be interesting to look at as well. Fuel is okay so far. The right tank doing its job. So she's on the right tip. All is looking fab and groovy. Also with this, the radios and the autopilot, there's a lot of programming went into these, so there's different functions there that we would be used to. We'll do something on that in a couple of days. But it's essentially the Mendix system, and it's modelled as the real world counterpart. Nice. So we're going to jump over to our left tip tank. That's now selected. So we'll see this guy starting to drain down. We'll aim for half a tank, and then we'll come back onto these guys. And it's all about a balancing act. Like if you run the fuel out of your right tip tank and keep your left full, it will affect your approach and your general flying. One thing about the Marchetti, if you look closely, there's no rudder trim that I can see. I'm not aware of a rudder trim in it. So you've pitch wheel, and that's it. If the landing gear fails, tucked away under here is your emergency um, landing gear. And so it's about pumping. Yeah, and you got to go bananas to pump it. They're all part of the emergency procedures, and you can. Uh, I think the recent update, they're printable, as in like your small checklist. You can print them out, laminate them if you want. I've skipped it all just purely because I'm so lazy today. It's just a nice, chilled out, relaxing flight from Cork to Sligo. The weather is fairly okay, like the wind speeds aren't something to worry about. Visibility is, it's not too bad, like it's so so. It's borderline VFR at this altitude, like it's pretty much IFR at this stage. But it's okay, we're not flying with any other traffic. So I wonder, does anyone else know any new releases coming out? Is there any new aircraft on the horizon that we don't know about yet? I know Carenado are working on a Cessna 172, which to be honest, we have the one from Laminar. I think it's very good. You put that along with the reality expansion pack. I suppose if you want to go a step up or a step aside, depending on your opinion, you have the airfoils. Or is it airfoils or dreamfoils? That is a good question. The 172, is it airfoils? But to be fair, to be fair, I'm not overly happy about it because it's the updates have been like few and far between. Yeah, the airfoil labs, like it got an update in February, I think. Then it got another release in May. But I don't know. I'm not. It ran into a few issues on my machine, just with the optimization, and in particular the gauges. They weren't they weren't displaying properly. It's like there was double textures loaded or something. Um, so yeah, I wasn't too impressed with it. I haven't flown it in a long time. I do have it. I might I might fly it around again just to see where it's at. Because don't get me wrong, there are some really nice features in it. But at the moment with the Carenado set, I think today's the last day of it. But there's a lot of decent planes in X-Plane, and it'd be nice to get some of the older ones updated. Like that Carenado do a Skymaster, and it works fine in X-Plane 11. Don't get me wrong, but just if it got that update, it'd be in a league of its own. It's a real unusual plane, like, and there's actually one parked down in Shannon. It used to fly in Weston. So we'll check a little map here. We have knock on the horizon up slightly 11 o'clock maybe. Visibility has started to drop. We're still in between cloud layers, so we have a small bit of hazy stuff beneath us and then scattered above us. We're 35 nautical miles away. About 12 minutes out. What we'll do, when we approach Sligo, we'll make a left turn just over the sea and then turn right then coming in. 122.1. I have to say the rendition of the weather is pretty cool. Okay, so we're going to pitch down now to 3,000 feet. We're within 10 minutes. Let's bring our speed up just a little bit. Not over worried. Probably keep it on the left tip tank as well. So on our approach, we'll probably come up in the middle of Sligo. We'll do one or two manoeuvres, just aerobatics, and then we'll be using our approach coming in from the sea, down onto the runway. That's Finner Camp. Through the clouds in the distance now, we'll start getting a view of Ben Bulben, which if you ever get the chance in real life to get up there in Sligo to look at it, you'll see it from the airport, but it's spectacular. Ben Bulben, it's just a big mountain sticking out. It's our closest thing probably to Monumental Valley, except it's not a valley, it's just one big mountain. But it's impressive, it's really nice up there. Yates Country, I think that's what they call it. But if you ever get the chance, it's well worth it just to go up and, you know, you can walk around the airport. There's actually a nice walkway track that handrails around the entire airport or the airfield. And it's nice, like if you get a nice day, it takes about an hour or whatever just to ramble around, but it's nice. So the airport is just on the far side of these mountains here. That would appear to be Ben Bulben over there, just over the compass to the right. Okay, so quick check on fuel. Left tip, right tip, and then our main. So we're not too bad. Booster can stay on, and we're going to go down and select both tip tanks. Down there. Can we not go for both? There we go. So both tanks are now feeding in. Everything so far looking okay. I do believe I found a little glitch. For example, there's nothing here, right? But if I move it, it is having an impact on my heading indicator. Or maybe it's not. Anyway, we'll see. Set our course to 002, which is there. But if we're going by, there's a drift, yeah. Anyway, not to worry. So, airport's over here somewhere. Our approach looks to be fine. And Bulben is way off in the distance. Probably not the best day for aerodynamics, but sure, we'll see. We're going to go ahead now and cancel our autopilot. Where's the obnoxious beep? There's our Ben Bulbin over there. Airport just without beacon is flashing over here. So we'll make our approach into it, do a flyover, and mess around with some of our aerodynamics, aerobatics. Okay, get a bit of speed up now. So there's the airport dead ahead. We'll go up by Ben Bulbin here as well. I'll say at around 2,000 feet. The texture discolor there, that's in your head. It looks fine for me. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that auto tile at all. It's your display settings. I don't know how I'm going to fix that. Anyway. Okay, we're probably low enough here. So we're going to launch a barrel roll and then into a loop. Ease up without stalling. Now we should, with our boost pumps on, there's the roll, there's the loop, and level off there again. Cool. Add a bit of power, sharp left hand turn. We're going to head out to Ben Bulbin. Try outside. There's Ben Bulbin straight ahead of us. It's more impressive from the ground, I have to say. We go down, drop our altitude a small bit, get it maybe around 1,000 feet or so. Alrighty, so we're going to head back towards the airport now. Bring your throttle back, get somewhere them knots down. It's a nice evening here in Sligo. That's just the alarm with our throttle letting us know that our gears are up. We can go ahead and cancel that buzzer. Alrighty. Let our speed just drain off a bit. About 105 knots we can go for flaps and start lowering the gear. I must put that to a hotkey.
Approaching 1-1.
Okay, right to descent, looking alright. Need to go left a bit. Just letting the speed drain us off. Watch the RPM. Go flaps down to 10. We're at 100 knots. Landing gear coming down. Watch our speed. Flaps down to 20. 3 greens, landing gear all okay. Flaps down to 30. And that should be enough for our flaps. Slight little crosswind just coming in over the water. Holding our speed at about 80 knots. watch our flare on this now. It can get a little bit tricky. Okay, bringing our throttle back to idle. And flare.
3,000 feet remaining.
Just keeping the nose up. Alrighty. Flaps coming in. Make sure back not to flood the engines. RPM up to 1,000. And welcome to Sligo. Bit cagey on our approach there, just with the I kind of have a bit of a downwind just with the coming in over the sea. But nothing really to worry about. We'll park in here to the right. That'll do us. Parking brake can go on. Don't want to flood that engine. Lights can come off. Avionics back up. Pitot heat. Booster pumps. Avionics themselves are off. Strobes off. And we can cut our mixture. There we go. Mags off. Open our doors here. Beacon off, and our batteries can now go to off. Alrighty, welcome to Sligo. That was a bit of fun. I hope you guys liked it. Took us about an hour or so just to get here. The weather, not too bad. We wanted it to be a VF4 flight, turned into kind of a IF4 flight, just how things kind of turned out. But yeah. Anyway, that's the story, lads. Thanks for coming along for the spin. I've yet to get a schedule up on Twitch. We'll try and do something, we'll try and plan something rather than just ad hoc streaming. But I'll probably get that up and running over the next couple of days. Again, if you're not watching these videos live, but you have any comments, questions or queries, just add it to the chat. Or you can jump over to the YouTube channel and leave comments in there. Excuse me, if there's other aircraft you want to see fly or different areas in the world. As I said, I've a fairly extensive range of aircraft in X-Plane. I've pretty much all of them. So if there's something you guys would like to see, perhaps you're thinking about buying it, or you might already have it and you haven't used it in a long time, maybe it was updated, and if you wanted to have a look at the features or whatever, and the same goes for the scenery. I have a fair whack of it as well. So that's the story, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll probably have a YouTube video out in the coming days, and we'll be back on Twitch then again. So until then, take it easy and see you soon.